Good morning, students, and welcome back to writing class. So today we should be getting ready to move on to the next part of the brainstorming process. So let's go ahead and go through our agenda for today. Today we will talk about introductions, narrow down ideas, and develop a central idea statement. So let's go ahead and read our objective for today. Get ready. Students will be able to develop a central idea statement. So that's what we're going to accomplish today during writing class. So before we start doing that, let's talk about why an introduction is important. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the place where you find the central idea is in the introduction. So why is an introduction important? Think about that. Why is that important? The beginning of your essay. Why is that important? The introduction is important because it's the first thing that the reader's going to see. It's the part that needs to capture the reader's attention and make them want to keep reading. You don't want to have an essay that the very first thing they read and they're like, well, I'm not that interested. Has that ever happened to you? Where you picked up a book and you read the first page and you were like, nah, I don't really want to read the rest. It's kind of boring or it doesn't catch my attention. And I've seen some of you do that before. So think about that, but think about that when someone's reading your essay. The introduction also helps the reader focus on what they will be expected to understand or agree with at the end of the writing. So most of the time when we're writing expository, we're informing, but sometimes we're informing by using our opinion. And so by the end of the essay, maybe the reader can either agree with you or disagree with you, or maybe they just feel informed. Either way, the introduction is the part of the essay that helps them understand why you're writing it and what to expect at the end. So I mentioned central idea statement, and let's just do a quick refresher about what a centralized idea statement means. It is the sentence in the introduction that tells what the writing will be about. So not to get confused with topic sentence, because topic sentence tells what the paragraph will be about. Central idea statement tells what the writing will be about, the whole writing, not just the paragraph, okay? And so in the central idea, you want to restate the prompt just by answering it. That's how you can restate the prompt. So like for the last essay, if the topic was about telling the truth, you can say, and you want to mix it in with your central idea statement, you can answer the prompt by saying, this is why telling the truth is important to me, or you can say, telling the truth is important to me because it shows integrity. So you've answered the prompt, and you've already stated your central idea statement. All you need to do next is talk about the reasons. So today, when I show you how I wrote my introduction, I'm going to show you how I also state my reasons. So if you don't have your brainstorming page out, go ahead and take it out. You can pause the video and then you can come back when you're ready. Now, for homework, you should have filled out your brainstorming box and narrowed it down to at least 2 or 3 ideas. This one, I'm not going to lie, was actually kind of difficult for me. This one was hard. I never really took time to think about the people that I know and their special talents. So this one was kind of difficult even for me. So I narrowed it down to my dad, a YouTuber that I know, and my friend. But after a lot of thought and consideration, I feel like this is the one that I'm going to have a little bit more to write about. So now that leads us into the next step for brainstorming, which is our thesis. And remember, we can think of thesis as our central idea statement. It means the same thing. This is just a term that we use right now in 4th grade. Later on in the upper grades, you will hear this word again. And hopefully when that happens, you're going to say, oh, I remember this. Miss Ramirez told me about it. So that just means the same thing. Okay. So I've already written out my introduction on my journal, but I want to highlight only my central idea statement right now. and I'm going to go ahead and write it out for you. Okay, so this is what I wrote. I said, growing up, I had a friend whose special talent was singing. Because she was so good, she would sing in front of lots of people. But just by looking at this statement right here, can you get an idea of what I might talk about? Yeah, you should. I'm going to talk about my friend who was really good at singing. And because she was so good, she would sing in front of people. So maybe I might talk about some moments where she sang in front of people, right? So that's why I mentioned that at the end, because that's going to lead me into my reasons. I'm going to draft out my introduction on my lined paper. That way I can upload it for you guys so that you can have it whenever you need it while you're writing your introduction. So let me go ahead and do that now. Now that I'm finished, let's go ahead and read it. And the winner is, the announcer exclaimed on the TV. The Voice is one of my favorite shows because amazing and talented singers compete to win. Singing is a wonderful special talent that I unfortunately do not have. Growing up, I had a friend whose special talent was singing. Because she was so good, she would sing in front of lots of people. So what do you guys think? What kind of introduction did I use? Let's look at our expository introductions. Did I use the funnel, where I start with a broad idea, then I narrow it down? Did I use the turnabout, when I start with one thing and then I go to another idea? Or did I use quotation? I use a quote to hook the reader, and the quote supports the thesis that follows. Did I use a quote? Yeah, I used a quote. That's the strategy that I used today. I used the quotation expository strategy. So I used a quote to lead me into my idea, to lead me into my central idea statement, to lead me into the story. So that's what I did this time. I used a quote and then I narrowed it down. I gave a little bit of information. That way I'm not just leaving the quote there like by itself. I gave a little bit of information saying that I was watching the show The Voice. And then I talked about singing, how I like singing, but that's not something that I'm very good at. But I had a friend who her special talent is singing, and that she would sing in front of a lot of people. So after this is A for area. I have answered the prompt. What comes after the A? Give a reason. So after this, I can give some reasons. I can give a reason like a moment where my friend sang in front of a lot of people. I can give 2 moments because I need to give 2 reasons, right? But for today, I just want us to focus on the introduction. So before we go, let me highlight my central idea. That way you can see it. It's right here. It's also where I restate the prompt. And I'm going to highlight my hook. Let me put an arrow. Hook and central idea statement. So I'm off to a good start with my introduction. Now that I have all the things that an introduction needs, like my hook, my central idea statement, and then I also restate the prompt, now I'm ready to move on to my reasons. But for today, like I mentioned, we're just going to focus on the introduction. For homework, these are the 2 things that you will do. You will develop your central idea statement, then you will draft out your introduction like I did, the first paragraph. However, you won't put yours on the lined paper. You're going to use the drafting page. The reason why I put it on the lined paper is so that when I upload it onto Teams, it looks really nice and neat for you to use, okay? So Do not write on the lined paper today. We're barely on day 2. We don't start writing on the lined paper until Thursday. So remember that. Today, central idea statement and draft out your introduction. Those are the 2 things that you will work on today. Like I've said before, if you have any questions or you want me to look at it or you want to tell me, is this a good central idea statement? Is it going to be effective? You can send me a message on Teams and we can talk about it. We can go over it and I can help you. Otherwise, this is all that we have for homework today. And I can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.